many bloody times have we seen Henry getting abused by his parents? It's pretty much the premise of the whole show.
Look what Henry did!
Don't be horrid, Henry. Just look at Peter's face. And my floor. This time you have gone.
And it's not just his parents either. Everyone blames Henry for being too wild, too mischievous, and too bloody horrid. But what if I told you that Henry wasn't born a bratty kid? In fact, I don't think he's as bad as people make him out to be. I think he'd be the perfect kid if his parents didn't make him this way. And today, we at Not Fair Studios have piled together tons of evidence to definitively prove that Horrid Henry's horrid parents made him like this. Now, don't get me wrong, for as much as I hate Henry's parents, even I've got to admit that Henry is a proper brat. I mean, he's done so many things that even I can't defend.
Horrid Henry.
But I still stand by my point that the only reason he's growing up acting like a little is because his parents are somehow even bigger. Now, I could spend the next however long this video is hammering it into your head about how terrible his parents are, but today we're going to do something a wee bit different. I'm going to show you the exact patterns that turn a difficult kid into a full-time menace. And I'll show evidence of just how their terrible actions are directly turning Henry into a little monster. First of all, we've got to talk about the family dynamic. Peter is the golden child who can do no wrong, while Henry is the scapegoat who gets blamed for literally everything, including the hasn't even happened yet.
Peter? What's this?
I know.
Oh, clever you to remember it's wash day.
Peter can't get in trouble even if he bloody tried. Even without overanalyzing the out of the kids show, a normie can still tell that there's some bloody serious favoritism going on here. And when you treat one child like they're perfect and the other like they're the family tea towel, well, you're creating the perfect environment for a villain origin story. And Henry may just be a kid, but he's not stupid. He learns from day one that no matter what he does, he's the bad kid, while Peter gets praised for breathing. So, if you're already being treated like the villain, you might as well bloody play the part. At least then you're in control of it. And that's exactly what Henry does. He becomes horrid because being horrid is the only role he's allowed to have in that house. And for a little kid going through hell, he plays the role pretty damn well. Although, with Henry's parents creating a never-ending loop of feeding into his bad behaviour by treating him like he'll always be a problem, then what do you expect of the kid? Hell, there's times when Henry doesn't even need to bloody be there and he'll get attention from his parents.
Ugh, I can't believe we're in this traffic jam now. This is all your fault, Henry. Did you hear me, Henry?
Henry, listen to...
And I'm not talking about positive attention either. I'm talking about any attention. Because here's the thing about kids. They don't care if the attention is good or bad. They just need to know that you see them. And in Henry's house, the only time his parents actually notice him is when he causes chaos. When Henry's being calm, quiet, or even helpful, his parents don't acknowledge it. They don't praise it. Sometimes they don't even bloody notice.
Now, here's what we're doing starting today. I will be giving out stars for the most tidy room.
Goody! What's in it for me?
But the second Henry acts out, suddenly both parents are in the room, fully engaged, shouting his name and that damn bloody catchphrase.
Is that my phone you've got there?
Oh, yes. Oops.
Thank you, Henry.
And I'm not just glazing the poor kid either. There's literally an episode where Henry tries to be good for an entire day, and his parents barely even notice.
Thank you, Peter. What a good boy you are.
They just assume he's up to something or that it won't last. If Peter so much as glanced in the direction of a broom, their parents would probably throw him a party. But when Henry tries to be good for once, he's probably just setting up to be bad later. So what does this teach him? It teaches him that there's no point in being a good kid, and there's no point in caring what his parents think of him. He's the black sheep, and that's the role he's got to keep playing until he gets old enough to cut them out of his life. But What if Henry just started keeping track of what actually makes them happy and what doesn't? I hear someone in the back ask. Yes, I'm pointing to you, Emily. Well, the problem with that is that Henry's parents, for their part, are about as consistent as British weather. One day, something's fine, and the next day, the same thing is a capital offence. Rules change based on Mum's mood, Dad's stress level, or whether Peter's feeling a tad bit cranky today. And here's the thing about inconsistent consequences. Kids will keep testing boundaries because they genuinely don't know where the line is. Henry's parents threaten punishments they don't follow through on, ban him from TV for 3 months, and then 2 days later, he's watching telly like nothing happened.
You're not going to laser zap. It's too violent.
I agree.
And too expensive.
I agree.
You're right. Let's have the party at home. There's loads of stuff we can do here.
Or they'll ignore something one day and then massively overreact to the same behaviour the next day. These two epitomise chaos in their parenting technique. So, what does Henry do? He spins the wheel, trying to find out just where to draw the line. And sometimes he's right. Sometimes they don't follow through. Sometimes they're too busy fawning over Peter to care. Henry doesn't respect the rules because the rules don't exist. They're more like suggestions that change depending on which parent is in the room and what kind of day they're having. And when you combine inconsistent rules with a kid who's already learned that negative attention is better than no attention, you get a child who's constantly pushing boundaries because he genuinely doesn't know what they are. And half the time, neither do his parents. And since we're on the topic of Henry's parents having absolutely no bloody idea what the fuck they're doing as parents, I personally think that they have absolutely no concept of de-escalation. None. Zero. Not a single brain cell dedicated to calming a situation down before it explodes. Every small problem becomes a war. Every minor annoyance becomes a full-blown family crisis. And it's always, always the parents who escalate it first. Here's how it typically goes. Henry does something small and annoying. Maybe he's being loud, or he's winding up Peter, or he's just not doing his homework fast enough. Normal kid stuff. Frustrating, sure. But the end of the world? Absolutely not. But instead of calmly addressing it, his parents go from 0 to nuclear in about 3 seconds. Immediate shouting, immediate threats, immediate humiliation.
Hey, we'll see about that. Henry, let me in.
Just a minute! What?
Look at the state of this room.
What's wrong with it?
It's a pigsty. When did you last make your bed?
And here's what they don't understand. Once you start shouting, the kid stops caring about the original problem. Henry's brain switches from, oh, I shouldn't do this, to, I'm in a fight now, and I'm going to win it. The original issue doesn't matter anymore. Now it's about power. Now it's about not backing down. Now it's about making sure that his parents know they can't just scream him into submission. So, Henry escalates right back. He gets louder, more defiant, more horrid. Because his parents taught him that's how conflicts work in this house. You don't talk, you don't calm down, you just get bigger and meaner until someone wins. And the parents, they never learn. They don't stop Henry early. They don't use calm voices or gentle redirects. They let small problems fester until they explode. And then they act shocked when Henry responds with matching energy. I've seen episodes where Mum is literally screaming at Henry for not tidying his room. And I'm sitting there thinking, maybe if you didn't start every interaction like you're launching a military strike, he'd actually listen to you.
Right, Henry, that's it. I want all these socks sorted into pairs by the time we get back. But no buts, Henry, or else.
Or else what, Mum?
Oh, no TV for a week.
A month.
A year. And that's that. This time I mean it, Henry.
But no, they jump straight to shouting. And then they wonder why Henry shouts back. Brilliant parenting strategy, that. But I get it. I mean, kids are complex. Nobody really knows what they're doing. And abuse isn't always black and white. For instance, would you believe me if I said Peter's also being abused? Peter's made to feel more special than he really has any right to be. And most of the time, he really gets the benefit of the doubt for everything. While Henry gets suspicion and blame, even before he's done anything wrong. Something breaks in the house, must be Henry. Doesn't matter if he was in another room. Doesn't matter if Peter was the last one near hear it, Henry did it because Henry is horrid.
I'm talking about... Oh, I did that. I tried to catch it. Really, I did.
Why do I think that's abuse? Because Peter's growing up to think he's more special than anyone other than his parents will ever think he is. And you know what that does to a kid? It destroys any motivation to actually be good. Because you think that the world's going to bow to your whims and everything's always going to work out for it. The poor kid's being set up for failure from the start. And it's tragic to watch because you just know he's enjoying the treatment. It gets so bad that in one episode, he decides to be bad and still gets praised for it.
Henry!
It was Peter's fault. He sprayed me.
Don't tell lies, Henry.
It's true. I sprayed him.
Well, Henry, you should have got out of the way when Peter was watering the flowers.
It makes it difficult for anyone in that house to grow. Peter's going to be stuck as a spoiled brat until the world deals him a heavy dish of character development. While Henry's probably going to end up with serious self-esteem and behavioural issues that will only get worse as he grows up. And it's all because these two twats can't keep their own emotions in check. What do I mean? The pattern's pretty obvious when you think about it. Mum or dad has a bad day, so they're extra short with Henry. Extra critical, extra unfair. Henry reacts to being treated poorly, and suddenly he's being difficult and horrid. But they started it. They brought the tension into the room. They created a hostile environment. The best example I can think of is when Mum's boss is coming over to discuss a promotion opportunity. Rightfully, Mum's nervous and trying to clean up the house to make everything perfect. And what's one of the things she does to de-stress while cleaning? Nag at Henry, who's watching TV and just trying to enjoy his weekend. With the way she's stressing over him, you'd think that Henry's mere existence would stop her from getting that promotion.
Now, Henry.
Can I still go to Ralph's today?
Maybe. After you've done all your chores. We'll see.
Yay!
And there's many other instances like these where Henry's parents just do everything they possibly can to remind him that he's the problem in their lives and that he needs to change. And the worst part, I genuinely don't think they realise that they're doing it. They're so convinced that Henry is the problem that they can't see how often they're the ones who started the chain of events that led to his behaviour. In their heads, they're probably just trying to discipline their bad egg of a son. But the thing is, discipline without teaching is just revenge with a timer on it. When Henry does something wrong, his parents' response is always an angry punishment. Either they ground him, send him off the telly, or take away his things. But there's never a conversation about why what he did was wrong, what he should have done instead, or how to handle the situation better next time. So this just causes Henry to scream out.
Right, that's it. No music, no TV, no computer. For a week.
A month.
A year.
And truth be told, he's right. Sure, I can admit that a lot of the things he's being punished for are completely valid. But still, at least sit the kid down and talk to him like a bloody human being. They act like punishment creates character. Like if they punish him enough times, he'll magically figure out how to behave properly. But that's not how kids work. That's not how anyone works. You can't punish a behaviour out of someone without giving them a better behaviour to replace it with.
Don't be horrid, Henry! And get on with your homework, otherwise...
Otherwise, they'll unplug the TV and say no more crisps, and I'll be banned from the computer for a month with no pocket money.
They expect Henry to just know how to be good, but they've never actually taught him what good looks like in their eyes. They've only taught him what bad is, and they've taught him that very, very well. So, Henry learns to avoid punishment, not to actually be a better person, and that just bloody grinds my gears. Anyone that's ever been in a similar household where you're constantly being called the worst person in existence for the smallest mistakes knows what I'm talking about. It's exhausting, and a 9-year-old kid should never have to deal with that. Because Henry's just going to learn to adapt to the constant disappointment. His lies are going to get more convincing, and his mischief is going to get way, way, way worse as he gets older. And his parents won't be able to figure out why their punishments don't work, because Henry keeps doing the same thing over and over. Well, maybe it's because you're too bloody lazy to actually teach your own kid why the things he's doing are wrong. Now, before you lot start thinking I've gone soft and I'm letting Henry completely off the hook, let me be very clear about something. Henry is still responsible for his actions. The kid enjoys being nasty sometimes. He chooses cruelty. He delights in winding people up. What the fuck? In making Peter miserable, in causing chaos, just because he can. And that's on him. There are episodes where Henry is genuinely horrified for no other reason than he finds it fun. And that's a choice he makes. It's a terrible choice, but he does make it.
Of course not. You can open your eyes now.
And here's the thing. Henry is responsible for his behaviour, but his parents are responsible for the environment that makes that behaviour the easiest and most rewarding option. They didn't invent Henry's capacity for cruelty.
This is all my fault.
No, Linda, please. This is not your fault.
Kids can be mean little shits all on their own, but they created a home where being cruel, loud, and disruptive is the best strategy for getting what he needs. They trained him to be this way. If you raise a kid in a house where kindness is ignored, good behaviour is unrewarded, rules are inconsistent, and love is conditional on being perfect, like Peter, then yeah, that kid is going to develop some pretty unhealthy coping mechanisms. Henry's behaviour is his responsibility, but the system that shaped that behaviour, that's entirely on mum and dad. And until they take responsibility for the environment that they created, Henry is never going to have a reason to change. Because from his perspective, why should he? Being horrid is working. It gets attention. It gives him some control. It's predictable.
You're goddamn right.
In a way that his parents' rules never really are. I could spend a whole day criticising these two, but I still got to admit parenting is hard. So,
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
what would actually fix this disaster of a family? Because I can hear some of you asking, okay, but what should they do instead? And the mental thing is, the solution isn't even that complicated. Henry's parents don't need a complete personality transplant or years of therapy. They just need to do 3 basic things consistently. The first, consistent rules with consistent consequences. Pick a rule, stick to it, follow through every single time. Don't threaten punishments you won't enforce. Don't change the rules based on your mood. Just be consistent. Henry would test it at first, obviously, but once he learns the rules actually mean something, he'd adapt. Kids thrive on structure, even difficult kids like Henry. Especially difficult kids, in fact. And of course, that goes to Peter too. If Henry and Peter throw a dish on the ground while being brats, they should both get the same punishment. Second, they need to pay attention to good behaviour. Henry's parents have both just decided that Henry's a bad egg.
I'm not good enough. What? I'm not good enough.
That means even when he's doing good, they either don't notice, don't care, or still punish him regardless. This needs to stop. They've got to see the good in their own kid, or things are going to go nowhere. And third, this one is honestly the most bloody important one. Stop worshipping Peter at Henry's expense. You can praise Peter without using him as a weapon against Henry. If they're going to treat the ground that Peter walks on like solid gold, then nothing's ever going to change. The two of them need to treat Henry like he's capable of doing good things, instead of constantly reminding him that he's the family disappointment. And they need to take Peter down a peg or two when he's being an absolute brat. If Henry's parents just did those 3 things, I'd bet that at least 70% of the chaos would disappear. And Horrid Henry would realise that being horrible isn't the best strategy for getting his needs met. So wait, doesn't that mean that Henry was right about things not being fair all along?
Yes! For you tonight.
Oh well, what do we know at Not Fair Studios? We only analyse Horrid Henry shows 24/7. Look,
Damn!
We're just saying Henry would have other options, better options, options that don't require him to blow up the house just to be acknowledged. But you know what you should blow up? That's right, that subscribe button right there. Or you can just watch this video where we talk about this classic villain getting the most delicious karma you've ever seen. Right, that's all for now. Cheerio.